Hello everyone, my name is Udit Sharma and welcome to series of Demystify VRC for the CAT exam. This is lecture 6 and today we are going to be talking about basically uh, historical narratives and literature studies. This is basic about me. You can see it on the screen. One trivia. I started making this series because this was the first topic which I actually studied the way I'm going to teach you. And since I had studied it this way, I thought that there are many such topics which need to be studied in a particular chronological order and in a particular pattern. And that's why I made the whole series. So this was one of the first topics that I studied. And I'll explain it to you right away. So yeah, let's dive into it. One second. Yeah. Today, as I said, we are going to be talking about two things: uh, historical narratives and English literature. This we are going to study as a subject. So why this is important is because I'll show you in the end. So many passages have come upon topics relating to history or interpretation of history, types of history or schools of history, that having some kind of background knowledge really helps, and it's gonna be a score booster. Believe me, it's gonna make your life very easy and it will help you get down to the answer. So first and foremost, as you all know, history is basically recollection, not recollection exactly, but a documentation of the past and analyzing it from various perspectives, say perspective of the king, perspective of the masses, or perspective of the enemy. So a lot of perspectives are there to history, and analyzing it from those is really important. So based on it, we have different schools of history, and this is very important. Just we go through each of these schools in brief, and then we'll talk about how they have helped us in various passages. So the first more and most is the positivist school. So as I said, if you remember the first class on philosophy and ethics, positivism is basically orientation towards facts, that is, which is recorded. The way history is seen as a science, historians should use empirical evidence, that is, which is noted down, an objective method to reconstruct the past. For example, very famous historian Leopold von Ranke said that we should write history as it actually happened. So you know what the things were there, what was the ground reality, without using much of your own interpretation or reading in between the lines. You should do this. So it's kind of like opposing skepticism. Then you have the Marxist school. Marxist school, as you know, in India, uh, Arun Shori was a politician. Basically, he wrote this book known as Eminent Historians, and there he typically it's kind of an expose on all the historians belonging to this school, Marxist school of history. But anyway, we should study it. The Marxist school is driven by the fact that material conditions and class struggle are the things that we need to focus on when we are analyzing history, and they typically focus upon what was the condition of the people in general rather than the rulers, and they provide a perspective which is actually not exactly in aligning with the culture of the place, so they're often considered to be anti-cultural or anti-religious or as well. uh, in India we have famous people such as Romila Thapar or uh, yeah, I guess Irfan Habib also. So people like them have been Marxist historians. Then we have the post-colonial school. So we studied about colonialism and imperialism, right? So after colonialism, there was a school which actually started jotting down about the lives of people during the colonial period. That is the struggles, the everyday conditions, and the second thing also the resistance the people offered and how they kept their culture alive. So challenges Eurocentric narratives. Eurocentrism is a philosophy that सब कुछ यूरोप ही है. and Europe is, the world's main center of attention. It's the world's main entity. If you remember, last year also, our foreign minister said something which became viral, that Europe should come out of the mentality that the world's problems are not Europe's problem, but the Europe's problem are world's problem. So that is Europe centricism. So it challenges it, like FM challenged it, and it highlights the perspectives of colonized people, focusing on power, resistance, and identity. So you can read the example over here. In India also you have various example uh, of like literature, not exactly in English, but which challenged colonial narratives. Right from you have from Veer Savarkar, you have from Tilak, you have from Aurobindo Ghosh. So all these great people, they have given their own thought, documentation. So it's not necessary that it has to begin only after colonialism ended, right? Then there's subaltern studies. This is also like a Marxist school only, but subaltern is more, I would say they are more holy in their idea. It's a branch of post-colonial history that focuses upon experience of marginalized groups. Uh, so typically, say history from perspective of uh, the mass people and those who were marginalized. For example, in India, often history is now written in with respect to the lives of Dalits, or minorities under Mughals. So those are subaltern studies. Then you have feminist history. Ramchandra Guha, again a good Marxist historian. Now you can challenge the fact whether Marxist historians are good or not, but within that category he is very renowned. In feminist history, uh, this is, I mean, self-explanatory, highlights the role of women and gender in history, challenging male-dominated narratives. You know, history is typically criticized and often like also explained in the way that it is his story. So this in itself is a patriarchal kind of a connotation that is given to it, and often used as an explanation. So this feminist history is, as I said, focuses upon women and how their life have been throughout history. In French Revolution, if you remember, there was a woman, I guess Olympe de Gouges, who wrote the constitution of for the women of French and people, etc. Who gave a declaration. I don't remember that correctly, but studying these kind of things, or studying what was the life of women during Victorian era, and or modern English era, 18th century England. Very good example is, अगर आप, if you watch these movies, Pride and Prejudice or Little Women, I guess इसमें Emma Watson भी है. So if you watch these movies, it will show you women's perspective. What was the life of women? What was it all about? It was, about getting married at early age, going to balls, finding the right person for yourself, taking care of the household, uh, typically the barn, etc. So this is what feminist history focuses upon. Yeah, just one second. Then there is something known as microhistory. This is something interesting. That's why I put it over here. And there are chances that it may come, and it has also come. I previously in one of the passages on etc. So microhistory is basically examines the small specific events or individuals to illuminate a broader historical trend. Okay, so for example, in this CAT 2024, there was a passage on spice, and with like what how pepper and spice trade was important, and with that they gave a broader meaning to it, like as in, like, people, for example, just because India had spice, people of India were seen to be from the land of the heaven and something like that, and with great materials and money and the land of prosperity. So this is also it was, I believe it was kind of micro history, because you had just used one commodity, and people interpreted it in so many ways. So that was a example of it. And then uh, there are several other examples as well. So as I said, oh, this should be six, sorry. Yeah. So these were six basic schools that I feel which are important for you to know in history. And now every narrative is set according to the people who belong to the school. Matlab say if I'm from a positivist school, I will try to when I give the narrative, I'll try to go fact find. I'll try finding documents. I'll try to find manuscripts. If I'm from the Marxist school, I'll directly challenge the ruling class. If I am from say the subaltern studies, I will everything rest wouldn't be important, but I will go and see the life of the most marginalized community. So then these narratives are set according to the schools. That's why we studied the schools first. So let us understand what historical narrative is. Refers to the way history is told or presented using structure, storyline, explain part, event, or context. And this, as I said, will depend upon the school. These narratives are just not collection of fact, but interpretation of history. This interpretation is done by the school, often shaped by the perspective, purpose, and context of historian. Okay, so now various events of the past I have gone critically under the scrutiny of various historical narratives, and that I have tried to present over here. For example, globalization and how historical narratives have commented upon it. Uh, uh, for example, see, globalization is about how people, goods, and ideas, cultures have connected across the world. It made societies even more intertwined and influenced historically developmentals globally. So what this typically means is that globalization, as we read, after 1950, globalization era began, and we talked about an interdependent world. Now, how it has shaped the people, how even in history there was a sense of globalization that we are going to talk about. For example, if you uh, read this book known as The Golden Road by William Dalrymple. Sorry if I'm spelling it wrong, sir, but this basically shows how ancient India actually was the pioneer of globalization. Okay. Similarly, so we had something known as the spice route, which was also like asked, as I said in this 2024 cat passage. But other than that, there is a concept of Silk Road, how that also was globalized, although there was the mention of the word Silk Road was not even done by Marco Polo. So it's a very late thing that Chinese, have used their soft power to spread it. But much, much before the Silk Road was the spice route. Then, for example, in Africa and Americas, the Columbian Exchange brought crops like maize to Africa and livestock like horses to Americas, reshaping diets and economies. So, this is also a narrative of how early globalization shaped the world. Then, as I said, we have post-colonial perspective in history, how colonized nations experienced and resisted European domination. Now, these are certain examples that you should know because passage examples में से ही बनाते हैं. For example, Africa fight against apartheid in South Africa. What was apartheid? Basically, when Britishers left South Africa, unlike in India, the whites did not leave South Africa. So not all the whites left. So there were certain South African whites, and then there were South African blacks. Now they were much less in majority, but like they were actually minority. The whites were minority, but they enjoyed all the benefits. They were given protection, etc. Those were minority appeasement. So that was apartheid. In fact, there it went to the extent of segregation इन सोसाइटी मतलब अलग कॉलोनीज होंगी एंट्री नहीं होगी तो दैट वाज फाइट अगेंस्ट apartheid in South Africa, and it shows resistance to a colonial mindset. Even today we talk about colonial mindset. For example, Narendra Modi ji in his speech in 2023 from the or 2022 from the fort of Independence Day speech from the Red Fort said now we need to fight colonial mental colonialism. जैसे a very good example of this was that in the Navy, the flag of the Navy had the George Cross earlier. ठीक है, now it's been replaced by a symbol of Shivaji Maharaj, who actually made the first modern navy in India. Okay, then for example, in Asia you have India's independence movement history. As I said, you can various authors, even Jawaharlal Nehru wrote about it. Then Mahatma Gandhi in his book Hind Swaraj, or V.D. Savarkar. Bal Gangadhar Tilak ji, etc. Even B.R. Ambedkar ji, they have written so much about India's independence movement. Then in South America, you have post-colonial studies in Brazil to examine how indigenous and African heritage shaped the nature after the Portuguese rule. This is basically post-colonial perspective. Then, as I said, there are gender and historical narratives on how history has overlooked the roles of women and other. For example, women like Marie Curie broke barriers in science. So these are examples of. So what they can do is they can in the passage they will say that women have been ignored and blah blah blah, and after that they can give you examples like how they were ignored. So Marie Curie recognition considered to be was not given as much as importance at that particular point of time. She was a woman. Even I guess there was a discrimination against the person who actually first found out about the DNA. She was also a lady. So then, yeah, there are these examples that you can go through them. Queen Nzinga of Nongo resisted Portuguese colonization in the 17th century. There are a lot of examples that can come from gender perspective. For example, in India also, we often focus upon only male warriors or male heroes. But one of the first people to fight Islamic invasions during the early uh, millennium, that is, I guess, in the early 10th or 11th century, was somebody by the name of Nike Devi. She was a Chalukyan princess of the Solanki dynasty who, later married into the Solanki dynasty. And I guess she was originally from the Rashtrakuta clan, married into the Solanki dynasty of the Chalukyas. And, there she guarded typically the area of Gujarat from Islamic invasion. I guess she defeated Mahmud Gauri or Ghazni, one of those. I guess it was Gauri. So yeah, we how many of you have heard about her? But we all know about Maharana Pratap or Shivaji Maharaj, right? So that's what suppression of women history has happened. Then you have race and ethnicity in historical context. This is important because today, as we talk about sorry, not inter but multiple identities. I can be a male and I am a white male. So so you have a black male. So history is also often now given the taste or tinge of race and ethnicity. This examines how racial and ethnicity identities have shaped societies. You know, example, civil rights movement, Martin Luther King. लिखा ही है, very good. If you remember Rosa Parks and how she sat still. So that was against racism. In Australia, struggle for Aboriginals. Even today, in say New Zealand, you have recently seen like how Maoris are finding their identity once again. In the parliament, you saw how Maoris are no longer ashamed of their own culture and are trying to depict it. This is happening in New Zealand as well. And the struggles of Aboriginals in Australia, this is very famous. What had actually happened in Australia. They used to, in the initial period, what they used to do is they used to snatch away the children of these Aboriginals or the original tribes uh, in garb of civilizing the children. And then they used to snatch them away. So today, Australia actually has a national apology and a national sorry day for the deeds that were done by their ancestors. So reading about these narratives, then Africa, you have the anti-slavery movement and the resistance to European exploitation. So these are the narratives that which are set. So they can, in the passage, what they can do is they can give you the narratives, two, three different narratives, and they can, one narrative will be criticizing the other, or one narrative will be going against the other. Another narrative might be supporting one of the earlier narratives, and the fourth narrative that they gave would be totally different. So this is what they will do, and then they will pose you some question. That's why it's important to know all these narratives. कि actually है क्या? Then these are memory studies and oral studies. This typically says that earlier traditions, even the Vedic society, for example, in India, we were oral society, right? आप इंसान की किताब जला सकते हो, आप उसके लिखे हुए पत्थरों को गाड़ सकते हो, बट यू दिस ओरल थिंग टू डिफीट इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, बिकॉज आप कितनों को मारोगे, सबको मारोगे फिर भी किसी ना किसी को याद आ जाएगा, एंड ही पास ऑन द नॉलेज। दैट्स व्हाई इट वाज नोन एज ओरल ट्रेडिशन। मेमोरी एंड ओरल कैप्चर द community perspectives that official history often miss. This is also because of political correctness that goes when you type, usually write history. You can read certain examples. India is the best example of this. Vedic traditions. These are the it's the best example. But other than that, oral histories and preserved tales of navigation and environmental adaptation. You can read other examples as well. Yeah. Then you have technological revolutions and historical change. Now, basically talking about the history of technology. This is very important. And how it shaped the world, shaped the society, affected environment, इस पे तो बहुत बार आ सकता है, etc. So has transformed society, bringing innovation but also disruption and challenge. So typically, industrial revolution पे they can give you a historical view site that how actually it led to urbanization, but it also led to development of urban chaos or high density poor societies or something known as urban waste mismanagement or crowded cities जो होता है ना that marginal man problem is a classic issue, sorry, yeah, classic issue which says that say there is a poor migrant who has come from a very poor place, and then they typically go to a urban area to work. Now वो बंदा ना तो यहाँ का रहता है ना वो यहाँ का हो पाता है, so he is always the marginal man, so that's the issue. For example, Industrial Revolution, they have it's written only began in Britain and spread globally, transforming production and urban life. Now इसके ऊपर आ सकता है कि positives क्या थे, कि economies of scale is the biggest contribution of Industrial Revolution basically, और उसके negatives क्या थे, pollution, then loneliness. Asia inventing of printing in China revolutionized knowledge sharing. Asia में also the prospect of India में how agriculture innovations transformed the Indian history. We can talk also about it. How iron during the late, not late, but like pre-BCE period, basically, iron changed India's map and led to formation of Mahajanpads. Or America's digital revolution led by innovations such as internet began the US and has connected the world. So इस पे भी आ सकता है, और एंड आते ही है नेटफ्लिक्स वगैरह पे एंड ओटीटी पे तो बहुत आता है कि what was the pre-OTT period, post-OTT period, and how OTT is transforming life. This has come and it will also come in future. Then you have class struggles and labor histories. We know this is typically Marxist historians presented or subaltern historians presented, focus on conflicts between wealthy and the working class, often leading to significant social and political changes. French Revolution, land reforms and labor movements. For example, Solidarity movement in Poland. उसके ऊपर there is a very good documentation of history and how it was, rise of the working class, rise of communalism in China under Mao Zedong. It can ask you that. Then environmental history and narratives of the nature. You can read exploration between humans and environment, showing how natural resources and ecosystems shape history. In specifically Indian culture, this has often played a very, very important role. Environment is an integral part of any historical writing that you will see. So there are certain examples. The Dust Bowl of 1930s was the cause of over farming and drought, leading to migration. I guess Dust Bowl was the period when the whole north of America, due to excessive farming, there was a huge cloud of dust that was spread over the area. So wheat bowl से dust bowl बन गए. Then aboriginals के बारे में Australia, as I said, and Africa में Sahara's historical expansion, influenced migration and trade networks. इसमें you can about Timbuktu, how it was one of the most prosperous areas in the earlier, about the Egyptian history, etc. So in environmental survey, Egypt में how Nile River actually shaped whole of history. How Timbuktu became famous because it was in the crossroads. Then you have migration and diaspora. ये basically इसका ना, I'll give you a very good example. Basically says that migration and diaspora explore how people move across the globe, bringing culture exchange, but also challenges like displacement. The इसका very good book if you want to read is by this Jhumpa Lahiri. I'm forgetting the name यार. I'll let you know. Jhumpa Lahiri wrote one very interesting book on it. I read it long back, but I'll let you know. It's about how a migrant population feels when, or migrant person feels when he comes to a totally unknown place. Wait, let me just search and come. Yeah, I'm back. The book was The Namesake. So it basically tells a Indian family is in USA. उसी के ऊपर बात कर. So it will basically provide what are the linguistic challenges you face, what are the typical discriminations, what is the excitement of the people abroad to meet you. So it presents everything. Chinese laborer migrated to US. These are certain examples of how these perspectives are written, and these can be quoted in your passages. To railroads in 19th century. Today, India is a passage can come how most CEOs today in USA are actually from India. So something like that can come. Post-war World War II migration saw Africans moving to Europe for better opportunities. The immigration crisis, to you all know, right? Europe to Oceania, British settlers colonized Australia, often displacing indigenous population. इसका तो हमने aboriginals के बारे में पढ़ा ही है. We also studied about Maoris of New Zealand इससे पहले. As I said, they were also original people of New Zealand. Colonialists came, colonial people came, whites came, displaced the Maoris, subjugated them. Now they are fighting. Maoris are not fighting back, but they are reviving their culture. The ninth, right? Yeah. The tenth, religious and historical narratives. This I don't think so. Cat is gonna ask you explicitly, but it's important to know because religion and philosophy में बहुत ज़्यादा अंतर नहीं होता है. So if you know the basics of anything, then it may be asked. For example, religion has often shaped society, politics, and culture, influencing identities. So Middle East में how the spread of Islam through trade and learning during the Abbasid Caliphate. ठीक है. इसमें very good example is the actually the Renaissance period of Spain was under when it was under Muslim rule. It is said, how algebra developed there. South Asia, we can talk about Buddhism spread from India to East Asia. This can come and transform spiritual practice and art. Europe में the Protestant Reformation, this जो यूके में हुआ for example, reshaped Christianity, governance across the continent because इसका the basic of this is individualism and hard work. So this was the feeding factor for your industrial revolution, the Protestants of UK. That's why it said कि यूके में सबसे पहले हुआ था industrial revolution. So these are different perspectives of history that you should know. इनको I have also listed them down in that Excel. Before I go to English literature, मैं आपको I'll try to show it to you how they have come in our passages in CAT. Wait, so this is 2022 paper of CAT slot. I guess this is slot 3. Yeah, thank you, Kraku. Yeah, but you can see over here. This is the first question itself. It says that interpretation of Indian past. This is about how Indian past has been interpreted by different schools of thought that we have studied. For example, Orientalism. As I said, Oriental is basically Oriental countries are Western perception of the East. उसे Orientalism बोलते हैं. That Oriental cultures like Western perception of Southeast Asia, South Asia, etc. जो Eastern है उसको Orientalism बोलते हैं. Then it has talked about classicism, romanticism. This we are going to study about इसके बाद in the literature part. So this is about history and how its perception, पूरा passage that how Indian thinking was different from the European thinking, etc. So that this was 2022 slot 3. Then this is 2023 slot 2. It straight dives into the positivists. School of history. I said positivists are those people who typically concentrate upon the facts and empirical evidence. तो उन्होंने claim their history as science and contributed to the weight of influence of the cults and facts, etc. ये पूरा उस positivist के ऊपर है पैसे you can read. So this is basically how these things come. अब जिसको पॉजिटिविस्ट के बारे में थोड़ी चीज पता होती पहले से एंड वुड हैव स्टडीड अबाउट व्हाट इज अगेंस्ट पॉजिटिविस्ट एंड फॉर पॉजिटिविस्ट्स ही वुड हैव बीन एबल टू डू दिस वेरी इजीली दिस पैसेज एंड सी दिस इज ऑन पोस्ट colonial literature. The world of novel was not often the nation and इसमें ना it's a little unique, this passage, because it actually goes towards like how we talk about oceans. It introduces the concept of how oceans can be used to explore the world and all, but it typically talks about literature and interpretation, etc. You can go through them, this passage as well. This is 2023 slot 1. So in 2022 it came, 2023 it came. Pepper 1, as I said, the Pepper passage came in 2024 slot 2 of EARC as well. So this is one of the most important topics that we have discussed today. You know this अच्छे से ना, you will be able to score very good. Yeah, I'll just go back. So this was history. Now we should know a little about English literature, because इसी का तो टेस्ट है. तो English literature पे क्या क्या developments हुए we should know, like the different eras. This I have written a lot. You can read through it. I will not go much in detail, because ये ना एक era पे नहीं पूछता है. It will try to mix two three things that, for example, I showed you, right? कि रोमांटिसिज्म, क्लासिसिज्म सबको मिक्स करके पूछेगा. सो इट विल ट्राई टू मिक्स. सो यू कैन गो थ्रू दिस, बट आई जस्ट टेल यू डिफरेंट पीरियड्स. दिस ओल्ड इंग्लिश पीरियड. यार यहाँ पे ना बीसी, पोस्ट बीसी मतलब था ये, वो मैं लिखना भूल गया. सो इट्स लाइक 450 सीई, सॉरी एडी होगा ये, नॉट बीसी, एडी से एडी. एडी एंड सीई आर सेम बाय द वे. So the old English period में the literature was largely oral, as I said, oral history and oral tradition emphasizing heroic ideals, pagan worldview, and this was the birth of Christianity, right? तो उसमें Christianization का process को explain करते हुए हुआ है. इसमें examples are here. You can read certain examples. For example, Beowulf. This is a very good poem which blends pagan heroism with Christian morality. Pagan heroism is typically uh, pagan heroism refers to, pagans were those people who worshipped, not worshippers of Christ, but who worshipped say stone के कोई artifact. Like Hindus को भी pagans बोलते थे वो लोग. So that was what pagan was. I'll also confirm 1 second. If I remember it correctly, it was pagan. Yeah. Pagan was that. जो लोग, for example, pagan history was typically जो मेन रिलीजन होगा ना, फॉर एग्जांपल क्रिश्चियनिटी द मेन रिलीजन, दोज हु डू नॉट सब्सक्राइब टू इट एंड टॉक अबाउट इससे अलग चीज, उसको बोलते पेगन. तो इवन हमको भी हिंदूज वर आल्सो कॉल्ड पेगन अर्लियर by anybody who worshipped stone or any idol was also called pagan. The Now you can read other examples as well. Yeah, then you have the Middle English period. This was between these all are AD, लाइक 500 ईयर पहले के पहले जो होता था उसको बोलते थे हम मिडिल इंग्लिश पीरियड. इसमें वर्नाकुलर लिटरेचर, वर्नाकुलर वर्ड इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, कैन कम इन पैसेज. इट मींस ऑन द ग्राउंड, मतलब टॉप लेवल की नहीं, गांव में जाके, या जो लोकल लोग बोलते हैं, लोकल बेसिकली वर्नाकुलर लैंग्वेजेस बोलते हैं ना, जैसे वर्नाकुलर लिटरेचर मतलब लोकल लोगों की लिटरेचर. एंड लोकल लोगों के थीम्स क्या होते हैं? कोर्ट के लव, रोमांस के बारे में, रिलीजन एंड एलिगरी के बारे में, आई गेस. इसके अंदर या वही जेफरी चॉशर्स की कैंटरबरी टेल्स was also exploring variety of characters and perspective. So ये सब कैंटरबरी टेल्स अबाउट अ टाउन, राइट? एक लोकल टाउन के ऊपर है, जहाँ के उनके लोगों के ऊपर है. सो दैट इज व्हाट टिपिकली दिस पीरियड वाज अबाउट वर्नाकुलर लिटरेचर. And this, as I said, this period showcases the emergence of realism. Realism is that जब कि तुम मतलब you're rooted in reality, not in your own fairy tale. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कैंटरबरी टेल में मीडिएवल सोसाइटी के ऊपर बात की गई है. इवन प्राइड एंड प्रेजुडिस, आई गेस इट वाज आल्सो बेस्ड ऑन बुक, सो उसमें भी ऐसी बात की गई है. सो देन देयर वाज द रेनेसांस पीरियड. रेनेसांस वाज द पीरियड व्हेन basically finally Europe got out of the shackles of narrow view and adopted science, reason, empiricism, etc. So this was the period of Galileo Galilei, this was the period of Copernicus, and how these people were actually changing science. And there was a huge, I would say, resistance from the church against this movement also, because it often negated a lot of things the Bible said. But this was the period. And cultural rebirth inspired classical antiquity, emphasizing humanism, individual, new fascination in the natural world. A golden age for drama, poetry, and prose, driven by experimentation in form and themes. For example, William Shakespeare, yes, Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo, Juliet. Okay, he's placed well into human psychology and moral ambiguity. Then you can read other examples as well. तो दिस वॉज अ पीरियड जब इंटेंस फोकस ऑन लैंग्वेज एंड मेटाफॉर, मतलब तब पोएम्स और वो सब ऐसे बनने लग गए कि समझ ही ना आए लोगों को बेसिकली आसानी से. ठीक है. Then the for example this I guess the Merchant of Venice, this by William Shakespeare, actually focuses upon greed, right? कि इंसान ग्रीड के लिए किस भी हद तक जा सकता है. So human emotion and human psychology की उसने ऊपर बात करी. Then you have the neoclassical period. This was, as you can see, typically a 100 or 150 years old, a long period. All of this is AD. And it is returned to order, reason, and decorum, inspired by classical Greek and Roman ideas. So if you remember, prior to the Christian world, there was what is known as the Roman civilization, Greek civilization. इसमें you used to have philosophers such as uh, Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, एटसेट्रा. ठीक है, तो ये फिलोसफर्स रीजन की बात करते थे, लॉजिक की बात करते थे, दे यूज्ड टू टॉक अबाउट फैक्ट्स एंड मोरालिटी. सो दैट इज व्हाट this neoclassical period wanted to bring back, return to the old idea. Satire and social commentary became central. ठीक है, and written as human follies. Focus on formality, balance between precision and his style. This all you should not know, बस आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि पीरियड में बात किसकी हुई. न्यू क्लासिसिज्म का मतलब है रिटर्न टू ऑर्डर, रीजन एंड डेकोरम, बस. देन यहाँ पे है द मोस्ट फेमस एग्जांपल इज जोनाथन स्विफ्ट्स गलिवर्स ट्रैवल. इट्स सेड टू बी अ सटायर. मेरे को बहुत बाद में पता चला, मैंने बहुत बार पढ़ी बुक, बट आई लेटर आई गॉट टू नो दैट इट वाज अ critique on human nature and society. And then you have the romantic period. बचपन में ना, I'll just tell you a small joke. In my class, when my teacher used to say that we are going to study about the romantic period, so I used to laugh a lot. उनको मतलब ही नहीं बताता रोमांटिक पीरियड होता क्या उसमें. I once said, मैम उसके लिए आपको क्लास से बाहर जाना पड़ेगा. So basically this was romanticism was at that point of time about nature and not person. It can be about person also, but usually it was about nature. It was a reaction against enlightenment, rationalism. You know what was the enlightenment period we had studied, right? जब everything became about fact, science, reason, empiricism, मतलब, and I would say binary interpretations. Interpretation ऐसी होती थी कि, for example, ये चीज या तो है या तो नहीं है. देयर वर सर्टेन ह्यूमन इमोशंस वगैरह, दोस टुक अ बैक सीट. तो इस पीरियड के अगेंस्ट जो आया था वाज द रोमांटिक पीरियड, फोकस ऑन नेचर, इंडिविजुअल एक्सपीरियंस एंड सुपरनैचुरल. इसका सबसे एक पीबी शेली, विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ, डैफोडिल्स. तो दिस वाज दैट पीरियड, राइट, जब ये सब बातें होती थी. एंड इस पे तुम नेचर की बात करते हो, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इवन रीड पोएम्स ऑफ मैथिली शरण गुप्त. तो देर इज दिस पोएम, माँ सुन, माँ कहे एक कहानी. सो देर शी सेज ना, सुन उपवन में बड़े सवेरे तात भ्रमण करते थे तेरे, जहाँ थी सुरभि मनमानी. सुरभि was typically what she wants to say here is that your father used to walk in a garden where the ambience was also had the pride in itself. So इस तरीके से present करना was a kind of romantic. But इंडिया में रोमांटिसिज्म ऑफ कोर्स मैथिली शरण गुप्त इस जमाने में नहीं थी, शी केम लेटर ऑन. बट इंडिया में तो ये सब इट वाज ऑलवेज देयर, ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ पीरियड्स वर ऑलवेज देयर. बट दिस इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ रोमांटिसिज्म सबसे उस चीज में. देन poets often express sense of alienation and longing. If you remember William Wordsworth's Daffodil, the end part he says is, in vacant or in pensive mood, I they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. मतलब this was वही कि मतलब बैठा हूँ, याद आती है, nostalgia होता है, typically वेला होगा, but exactly. So it was a reaction to industrialization. So this was what typically a romantic period was. Uh, it was influenced by the revolutions and mostly इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के खिलाफ था ये. नॉट एग्जैक्टली कि होना नहीं चाहिए, बट इसकी वजह से व्हाट आर द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट कॉज्ड, उसके बारे में भी लाइक इट हैड गिवन अ लॉट ऑफ स्ट्रेस. यहाँ पे लिखा है विलियम वर्ड्सवर्थ. मैरी शेली वाज वाइफ ऑफ पीबी शेली. फ्रैंकलस्टीन के बारे में बात की थी, द ह्यूमन मॉन्स्टर दैट वी क्रिएट बिकॉज वी वांट टू टेक्नोलॉजी टेक्नोलॉजी टेक्नोलॉजी. As I said, personal emotions, lyrical and evocative imagery. Then we'll talk about the literary devices later on. Then we come to the Victorian period. This was, जब Queen Victoria was ruling over England, basically that period. It's called the Victorian period. Literature tackled social. इसमें ना, this was the social issues. You remember told you about these Pride and Prejudice, Little Women, ये सब वाला जो era था ना. This was kind of Victorian era जब जब the problem was that a particular class had become rich because of industrialization, but there was a very big class which was still ambitious to reach that place. And to reach that, there was a lot of struggle, there was poverty, there was alienation, there was difference between rich and the poor. So इस सबको that ambitious वाला person का जो age stage था ना, that was this Victorian period. And realistic portrayals of society, गरीबी को गरीब दिखाना, अमीर को अमीर दिखाना, एस्पिरेशनल को एस्पिरेशनल दिखाना. एंड इस पे जेंडर रोल आने लगे थे. या एज आई सेड लिटिल वुमन, जेंडर रोल के ऊपर बात हुई है. ये क्वीन विक्टोरिया का हिस्टोरिकल कंटेक्स्ट आई सेड, राइट. इंपीरियलिज्म स्टोर, दिस वाज आल्सो इंपीरियलिज्म, बट जब विक्टोरियन एज में बात करते हैं तो वी टिपिकली डोंट टॉक अबाउट इट. फॉर एग्जांपल इट्स हियर इज गिवन चार्ल्स डिकन, ऑलिवर ट्विस्ट वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ दैट. ऑलिवर ट्विस्ट में दैट पुअर बॉय ऑर्फनेज में जाता है, खाना मांगता है. दैट वाज अ टिपिकल सोसाइटी एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. Okay, this was, yeah, rise of sterilization. This was also a period. You should not know this, but this is just a fact that बहुत सारे volumes, हाँ, publishing novels in installments. The modernist period, modernist is again, you know, literature became experimental. इसमें वही facts and वगैरह का orientation, breaking traditional narrative structures. Themes of alienation, fragmentation, and initial uncertainty dominated. यानी subconscious factors को करते थे. तो मॉडर्न पोइट्री में, फॉर एग्जांपल साइकोलॉजी में मॉडर्निस्ट एंड पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म के बारे में पढ़ा था, राइट. तो उसमें दैट वाज अबाउट फैक्चुअल एंड एम्पिरिसिज्म ओरिएंटेशन, बट इसमें इट वाज अबाउट अगेन लिटरेचर में एक्सपेरिमेंट करना, लाइक ट्रेडिशंस को ब्रेक करना, बीइंग मॉडर्न बेसिकली. फॉर एग्जांपल म्यूजिक द सेम इज डन बाय रहमान. ही ब्रिंग्स इन मॉडर्निस्ट वे ऑफ थिंकिंग अबाउट इवन ट्रेडिशनल म्यूजिक. टीएस, ये दिस इज अ वेरी फेमस बुक, या द वेस्टलैंड. Fragmented exploration of post-war despair. And this was also the period, modernist period, में जब books were now written by not only people who actually studied literature from wide variety of areas. मतलब history वाले historians भी books लिख देंगे मतलब for reading. Then a scientist might end up writing a book on reading. So politicians might end up writing a book on reading. जो उस जमाने में, for example, this was also a period, which coincided with the end phase of imperialism. So even those freedom fighters started writing books. So this was also that period. Yeah, then we have the postmodern period. Yes, आपको पता है ना, मॉडर्निज्म में, एज सेड, ग्रैंड नैरेटिव्स क्या होते हैं. मॉडर्निज्म, दे वर ग्रैंड नैरेटिव, मतलब दे रिजेक्टेड द ट्रेडिशनल आइडिया, बट देन दे गिव देयर ओन यूनिवर्सल थ्योरीज एंड नैरेटिव्स. तो पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म बोलती है कि ये ग्रैंड नैरेटिव्स को हटाते हैं. एवरीबडी कैन हैज, सबका एक ना अपना पर्सनल नैरेटिव होता है, एंड दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. प्लेफुलनेस एंड मेटाफिक्शन एंड इंटरटेक्सचुअलिटी. ये नहीं कि एक ही टेक्स्ट सब कुछ है. तो इट फोकस्ड अपॉन कि पोस्ट मॉडर्न में वी आल्सो नीड टू फोकस ऑन एन इंडिविजुअल कंसिडरेशन. एंड यू कैन सी इसका ना, हाँ, वेरी गुड एग्जांपल ऑफ पोस्ट मॉडर्न इज दैट्स दिस सलमान रुश्दी, मिडनाइट चिल्ड्रन. एंड इसके अंदर देयर इज अ कंसेप्ट ऑफ मैजिकल रियलिज्म. या so what this book is basically about is, in 1947, right, as soon as India got independent, few children were born at the same exact time, and they had magical powers. Okay, so यही magical realism यही है कि like they could basically, I don't remember, but uh, it was they had vision, so they could see things, जो हो रहा है, कहाँ हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है. So they could do all that, and the basically dimensions के बीच में. So that was magical realism, and there he, in this book, Salman Rushdie basically showed कि कैसे poverty and the partition का struggle interpret with each other. So these are literary devices. मैं ना basic आप you can read through this, but these were used during the period. आपको ना ये जानने की जरूरत नहीं है, but what you should typically know is in your other exams, right? ये SNAP and all, a lot of these literary devices do come, so you can go through them. But ऐसे आपको, I will not go through the list with you, and I have jotted it down कि कौन से ज़माने में क्या होता था. For example, as I said ना, satire was, Gulliver's Travels were written during this neoclassical period. Satire was a thing. Romantic period imagery, डैफोडिल्स के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था. और मार्क ट्वेन भी, आई गेस, वाज ऑफ दिस पीरियड ओनली, और उसने भी, ही इन हिज बुक यूज्ड टू राइट. सुपरनैचुरल एलिमेंट में वी टॉक्ड अबाउट फ्रैंकलस्टीन. देन विक्टोरियन पीरियड, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट रियलिज्म, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट क्लास स्ट्रगल, सोसाइटी, सिंबलिज्म. In modernist भी you can read. इन पोस्ट मॉडर्न में आप देख सकते हो मैजिकल रियलिज्म की बात हुई है, ब्लेंडिंग रियलिटी विद फैंटेसी. By the way, Salman Rushdie was a person who was stabbed in the eye 2 years ago, I guess, while giving a speech in USA. By because he, typically writes about, not I wouldn't say he's a reformist of the Islam, and he criticizes certain things in the Islam. So somebody stabbed him in the eye. His book, Satanic Verses, was like जिसकी वजह से ये सब होता है उसको, मतलब he has to get so much hit. It was banned in India. It came, I guess, in 2009 or क्या आसपास. It was banned in India and many places across the globe. So yeah, now I have created these ChatGPT based cat passages. You can see, create a cat exam style reading comprehension on topic of class struggle and rebel histories. Take a view of different historians and their interpretations. Right, so you can read this. And similarly, I have created upon this topic comparing different eras of English literature. So अगर आप जैसे ये पैसेज देखिए जिसमें I am talking about class struggle and labor histories, you will see upon, it gives about a person how the making of English working class के बारे में बात करता है. Then it also tells about somebody else who has a more structuralist approach. Structuralist and post structuralist के बारे में हमने बात की थी, right? So that kind of an approach. You can read this. It's a very good example that I got from ChatGPT, and I will paste the same. Wait, let me just go back to my. Yeah, यहीं पे बताता हूँ मैं. रुको. From current slide. If you go to the practice Excel, I have jotted down important topics that you need to practice over here. So आप ऐसे you can make the prompt and you can practice. I would say just practice, any 5 to 7. It will help you a lot. So it will गिव यू नॉलेज ऑफ. आप इस लिटरेचर स्टडीज में ना एक एक करके मत प्रैक्टिस करना. आप मिक्स एंड मैच करके प्रैक्टिस करना. मतलब यू कैन से हाउ द मॉडर्निस्ट पीरियड वाज or the romantic period was a reaction to the Renaissance and the Enlightenment period, or you can say how the modernist period and post-modernist period clash with each other, how Victorian period influenced not only Europe but other countries. ऐसे करके आप लिख दो कि ऐसा पैसेज बनाए, so वो आपको बना के दे देगा, राइट. सो दैट यू नीड टू डू. तो आपको आर्ट एक्चुअली करनी नहीं है, वो मैंने बस लिस्ट किया है. ओके, या नाउ या that was it for today. So basically today we studied about historical narratives of various concepts. मतलब जो भी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ अभी हो रही है ना दुनिया में, टेक्नोलॉजी हो, ग्लोबलाइजेशन हो, फेमिनिज्म हो, क्लास स्ट्रगल्स हो, इमिग्रेशन हो, उसके अंदर हिस्ट्री का क्या नैरेटिव है दैट वी स्टडीड अबाउट. And then we also studied about different schools of history which actually lead to these narratives. So that was important. Then the second thing that we studied about today was English literature, और उसका थोड़ा सा we studied about the chronological approach in which you need to. Oh wait, what happened? Yeah, so we studied English literature as well, and here we also studied about the chronological way in which you should know what era came when. So that also we studied. Yeah. So other than that, uh, I guess that was it for today. We saw cat passages that have come from whatever we studied today, and I also showed you कि chat GPT पे क्या prompts लिखोगे तो आपको क्या आंसर मिलेंगे that you can now try on your own. I feel like this was very important class, and why is this happening? Yeah, I feel it was a very important class, must watch, and I would say that that's it for today. Keep reading, keep doing the practices, practice Excel that I've told you, and let's meet at the next class, which is probably going to be, uh, I guess, the second or the third last class. Yeah, after that, it's just going to be one wrap up about all the miscellaneous topics, and then we'll go. So, thank you, and have a nice day or good night.